How good is the Miller Error episodes? Today, we are finding out by doing a season 13 tier list. I hope you enjoy. Alright, let's start with these episodes that I'm going to rank about right now. Let's start off with the very first episode. We start off with Creaky Cranky. This is a pretty good one for some reason. I say that because it's mainly about Cranky. Only to prove that Thomas thinks he can carry anything that's heavy. And he does so. But by then, after Cranky's crane arm had broken, to lift Thomas, which is really bad. This is somehow good for a reason. I can't express the reason why. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Until then, this episode is great. Not to mention the amazing settings about the Duke and Duchess. Kind of mentioned season 8 being an absolute masterpiece, then the other model series and the CGI series. I'm not going to talk about that right now because we are in the middle of season 8 ranking. Or, excuse me, 13, excuse me. Season 13 is bad. I'm sorry, but everything I say goes pretty badly. And there's a lot of bad episodes, and we'll get to that once we get this through. And because of that, we're gonna move on to the next episode in soon casing, and I'm hoping we'll get this through once and for all. Don't mention it. Frankie is probably the main reason why Thomas actually decided to lift him in the air. I like Carrie Shell as Sir Topham Hatt's line that he's caused confusion and delay. And the Duke and Duchess are waiting with their hay bales. Wait, let's see for a second. The wood, straw bales, and eggs. That's a really funny line. And speaking of that, we're gonna go to our next episode. Hopefully, this is better. Yeah. I remember that. The Lion of Sodor is a bad episode. I hate how Thomas actually thinks that he's carrying a real lion. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? It's the Lion of Sodor. Thomas, oh my goodness. This is the reason why I hate much of it. I mean, the beginning is really good, but the rest is boring and lame. I don't know how to say about these other episodes, other than that, it's not that good. That's a problem. The main problem is the main plot on how the story is going to go. Oh my gosh, I just want to get this through. Until the Lion of Sodor was covered in straw, sticky syrup, and fish. Bro, oh my god, Thomas. This gets on my nerves too much. So far, I'm not so interested with this season right now. I hope this will improve once we get this done and over with. But please remind me of the special time of parcels. I just can't help it so much. This is so dumb. Okay, this episode is not much of an improvement, but it's kind of better. Tickled Pink. I like that episode better than the Lion of Sodor, but it's not much good. This is one of everyone's favorite episode, and I conflict that why. It's how much James was colored pink, just like Rosie. Speaking of that, James has decided to. Well, that was an assignment to do. That ain't the reason why this episode is there. What I think about this episode is far better, and this is much an improvement, but not much though. I love the fact that the engines all laugh at James for getting the code pink. That's hilarious. In which James is a scaredy cat and doesn't want the other engines to figure out that he's colored pink. I mean, Sir Topham Hatt did manage to adjust James about that. I mean, that's hilarious. Not to mention the children are also wearing pink. But that's much of a problem, and I can't determine that why. Hold on, that's not quite right. I need to get this through fast, otherwise that is not good. Excuse me for a second. Hopefully this is much better. Double Trouble. How am I not gonna say this one? This goes in the very, very top spot. Oh my gosh. This episode is so amazing. Don't get me wrong though. I've seen this episode lots of times, and I love Sir Loam Hat in this episode. And we needed an episode of him right now. Even though he's Sir Topham Hatt's brother, this episode makes me laugh and smile every single time. I can't assure the reason I put it there, how much this inspired my freaking episode. I don't have an episode of or show, but I consider this one to be 100% fantastic and the best so far of the season. I'm in a tier especially for it though, because words cannot describe how much I really love and how amazing this episode is. I love the lines on Sir Loam Hat better than the other U.S. lines. Other than that, this is 100% fantastic and one of the amazing so far, and the absolute best of it. I cannot assure the whole reason this is gonna go in the top spot of first place. Like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Can you believe that? Alright, let's just move on before I get my head exploded. Alright, next up we got Slippy Sodor. I don't know how to say about this episode, then this is like boring. But saves it from being bad. But that's why this episode doesn't exist. I love Mr. Bubbles in this one, but I don't understand the reason why Thomas would be so careless by pulling a barrel of liquid bubbles for Mr. Bubbles' big show. I know, like, the crashes are kind of good, but not much though. This episode annoys me for a reason. Other than that, this episode is not much better of the Lion of Sodor. I mean, this is like crazy crashes or crash compilations. We'll never know until I find the answer. Oh, come on. I remember this episode since I was a kid while watching Splish, Splash, Splosh on DVD. Other than that, this is not much better. But I'm not sure how that's gonna go. And then this is gonna be our little problem. Let's just move on. Alright. The early bird is not much better. And it goes there. The early bird is not much better because of how much Thomas has been a jerk this entire episode, whistling loudly when doing Percy's mail run after he's popped a piston, and wakes the other engines up by blowing his cheerful whistle so loudly they barely could work and did all these silly mistakes. That is so unnecessary. Ugh. There's 20 episodes instead of the usual 26 because we're in the Miller era. Each time the Miller era gets 20 episodes instead of 26. I mean, they could have made it 26 because that would have been better instead of the usual 20 in the Miller era. Just like in season 12, which is easily one of the worst seasons. And it's not much better. How boring does it get, though? I don't know how much this gets, but playtime is an improvement. I don't have much to say. Charlie is introduced in this episode, and that's the only character that has ever been introduced this season. We got lots more in Misty on Rescue and Day of the Diesels as well, but that doesn't make it an impossibly favorite. This goes there because of how much experiment this episode goes to. I mean, what the heck is up with Charlie? He is cheeky, but I love the sequence. This is kind of like Come for the Ride, but not much better of how much fun. Alicia Body is also in this episode, and she's really cool. But I don't know how to describe Charlie as an episode in Playtime. Why do they consider that as an episode? It could have been like, I don't know. The writers could have thought about another episode instead of that. Okay, but I don't know how I'm going to say about this one. Should I move on? I don't know about... we're going to continue with this process first before I do that. This is not much going on for some reason, and I can describe it as much as I remembered. I mean, with Double Trouble, it's much better in this episode than Playtime. I mean, Double Trouble was also in Season 2, where Thomas and Percy had coal problems. Like, Thomas gets stacked in a pile of coal, and Percy derails into a off the rails while hitting the buffers. That's much an improvement than Playtime. But I don't know about this episode, but it does make a good difference. I mean, it's fun, though. They should have made it Thomas and Charlie's fun time. Well, that could have been better. But not much, though. And I don't know how I'm going to describe that episode. That's going to be a problem. Alright. I think I've had enough explaining right now. Can we just move on to the next episode, please? I don't want to try and get this demolishly under control. We'll get to the song once we got there. Ugh. Alright. We'll get to it. Thomas and the Pigs. This is a weird title to the episode. And it's much worse. It's much worse than Thomas and than the early bird. Bro, I'm just not suspicious about that episode. Like, come on, just give me an episode that's much better. And oh my goodness, they don't even get it. I don't know how much time. They made an introduction back with the pigs on Farmer Trotter. I mean, Farmer Trotter was in this episode. But I can't describe Farmer McCall as well. It doesn't help much. Other than that, this episode is really weird. I don't know how I'm gonna get this higher if I watch it again. This is a really weird one. I mean, Farmer Trotter calls the pig Thomas at the end of the episode. That makes no sense. And Farmer Trotter, please support your friend. Oh my gosh. I just want to get this suffering done and over with. I don't know how much worse it's going to get until we get to the final episode of Season 13, which is Hiro Helps Out. Will be a good one, but we have to get this done with the other episodes first before doing so. Other than that, let's just move on to another episode that I hope is an improvement. But please, get this done and over with.
The next generation of
come on.
protection has arrived. Introducing Expel.
I'm not sure how I'm going to describe time for a story. Other than that, this is a good one. But I don't know how much I'm going to say about favorites. Even though Thomas does get careless because he does not see the caution that the workers are trying to mend up bumpy tracks. The bumpy tracks are probably the reason the books fly. He didn't even wait for the tarp to be used for a car of books at the library. This is really weird. This is kind of like me having a breakdown. I'm not quite happy right now. I don't want to explain more about this episode. I just want to get this done. Let's just move on. I don't know what to say. Oh my goodness. Percy's Parcel is a bit of an improvement. I don't know what I'm gonna score. Well, we need another favorite, so I'm putting that there. It does look like a party episode, but it's not. I'm sorry, but that's not the biggest reason about this episode. It's like Dowager Hat's birthday. At long last, at least Percy gets a special. But I kind of feel bad for him when he didn't even get a job until he finally did, until he got back when Sir Topham Hatt managed to tell him about that. This episode is much better than Tickled Pink, even though it does have a party in it. It's kind of weird though. I'm not gonna lie. This is too much weird. And it's not any better. Well, I don't know why I say that. I just hate the Miller era seasons, but not much about season 16. I want to get through that once we finally manage to get out of there. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do so. Let's move on. Toby's new whistle is finally an episode I like the most. Top of the favorites tier, but not gonna be double trouble once and for all. Oh, finally. This episode is a masterpiece. 100% fantastic. But it's not going to be the outstanding double trouble. Too much of this episode to say. It would have been much better with Toby's personality, like in Toby and the Whistling Woods, which I don't know about that, but we'll get to that soon enough. Other than that, I have something else in mind. Give this episode an outblasting experiment. I watched it at least a few times, and I like Toby's new 3-chime steam whistle. At least that's what it's called. Even though that's loud for a reason when Toby uses that instead of his bell, since it's like covered in clay, I think. And it's kind of scratched. So I ended up having to use the 3-chime steam whistle, which he has never used before. Let's go to the next one. Thank goodness we got an improvement of that episode. I'm so relieved we are finally getting through this. Now we go to A Blooming Mess. This is another bad one. I always get this every single time. I just wish I had a desktop. That's what could have made me better. Alright, well, A Blooming Mess is not a good one. I know Emily's trying to make Mavis happy about all the jobs she's done at the quarry. Like, Emily, please support your friend. I'm gonna have a lot of bad feelings about this whole episode being so boring. Instead, this isn't an improvement. And this does not improve much. Even though the Lion of Sodor is one of the worst episodes. But I don't know how these other episodes can remark about that one. Other than this one, I don't know how I'm going to describe it other than it's not good. It's not good. Alright. I get it. Let's just move on, or else I'm going to get my head blown and I'm going to have a breakdown. But please, I want to get out of there fast before having to take my time. Just please. Oh my gosh. No. I don't want to get out of there. Let's go to Thomas and the Runaway Kite. This is a meh one. I don't know how I'm going to say this one other than the chase is fine, but not as powerful. And more of these episodes being incredibly weird. And I don't know how I'm going to describe this episode. But if I can describe it, it would be a bit weird. I don't know how I'm gonna say about this one. Other than this one is weird, really weird. And I don't know how I'm gonna think about describing this silly old dummy of an episode. I don't know what to think about prospecting this. I don't know how I'm gonna get this through in time before having my own spot to do. This is a really dumb one. But it's pretty meh, and I don't understand. It's such a bummer though that this episode doesn't cost much. Ugh. But please, get me out of this silly old thing. I want to get it done and over with. I say that many times and I never do. Alright, at least we get Steamy Sodor. This has a really nice ending, but that's it. I don't know how I'm going to describe that one other than we can put that there somehow. Somehow it goes there. I don't get it. Like, give me an explanation why this episode needs to go there. It's not that I'm pleasant with these episodes. Like, please, just give me another supporting chance of an outburst. I want to get this done so I can go back and do something. I don't have a lot of time. This needs to be premiered on Friday. This is so stressful. It really is. I want to get to the next episode before I burst into flames. Like flaming hot. And I can't describe this one either. It's a shame, too. I can't really assure that why. But it's such a shame. Oh, man. I don't know how that's gonna go. It's such a bummer. It really is. Darn it. Well, hopefully we managed to get that through. Alright, hopefully this is an improvement. Splish, Splash, Splosh is not even an episode, and it is really boring. This does not save it from being good, but does save from being bad. This is such a mediocre episode. I don't get it. I mean, the song is powerful, but only Roll Along is that song of an episode in season 13. Like, come on! This is really not the time for playing too much of a game. This doesn't make quite sense, and I don't get it. If I had real lyrics in this one, then I wouldn't be so dramatically under the whole process of being down. Oh, come on. I want to get me into this next episode. And I don't get it. I don't understand. But please, get me through this. Oh, man. Well, I don't know what to say. 5 episodes to go. We finally get to reach the biggest present of all. This is much better and an improvement, but not much though. There is no episode that's gonna beat this. So I need to eat this pie. I can't believe I've been agreeing to, I can't believe one of my fans decided to let me do this. Other than that, this is a really meh episode. I mean, Hiro is finally back to Sodor, but I'm not sure about the others though. Get me through this whole thing so I can go to the last 4 episodes, please. I'm not having too much time to focus there. Like, please, give me more support by hitting the subscribe button so that way I can try and think about doing season 14. But instead, I have to do these. One of the weirdest episodes. Except for Double Trouble, of course. I don't know why they call that one. Apart from season 2, they could have named Loam's Big Blast at the freaking whatever. Get me to the next episode, please. I am not ready to get this done. But if I am, though, that's gonna be dumb. And I don't know if I can actually get this back. Alright, hopefully this time we get much better things. Snow Tracks is really amazing. Other than this one, I like the ending sequence. The ending is so strong. Gordon's finally the main character in this one. Even though he only had a job by taking freight cars to random docks, which is a bit boring. But other than that, the snowy visuals are really a blast. But I don't know about the visuals. Well, the snow settings is really amazing. The crash is a bit too much, I'm afraid to say. But I don't know how I'm going to say for the rest of them. But I really need to get to the cut parts. It's kind of cut there. And I don't get the parts of cutting sequences. I want to get this through and done. Please support my voice being dramatic. And beyond from that, I don't know how much I'm going to say about this one. Other than that, this is an episode I really need to talk about going through. These other dumb and quite... The other 2 are not much better. So I hope we can get this through and done with. Other than that, we are going to have to move on to our other few episodes. What a weird one. I don't know how weird this is going to be. And I don't know how I'm going to describe that. Ugh. It could have brought more stuff back in the CGI series. Ugh. I don't know how much I'm going to try and think about doing this. Alright. We'll get to these at that episode. I mean, the snowball scene is very weird. How did Gordon even manage to make a snowball up a big hill? I mean, it's not that hard to climb up a hill. He could have used all his could have used all his steam to push that giant snowball. I mean, sure. Who gives a crap about that episode? Fans like this episode, same for me, but not much. The rest of the other episodes don't improve much, except the last one, because that might be better. I really hate one of my fans telling me to do a season 13. And I'm giving this for all my fans at home. I can't believe I have to go through this whole thing. The ranking does make it popular, but I don't know if that saves it. I gotta take it easy. Because the other two are not an improvement. We're only going to talk about it one at a time. And that makes no offensive sense. Let's just move on. I'm losing hope, and I need to get to the last three. Otherwise, I lose my computer and I lose my microphone. Ugh, what a shame. Okay, hopefully this time we have an improvement. But I don't know. We get Henry's good deeds. Bro, Henry only does one thing. How does he make good deeds? Other than that, this is a bad one. This is forgettable and a shame. How much time did this episode? Well, I put this season in the D tier because I don't like it much. But how though? How did I manage to rank these other episodes all the way from bad to good? Like, come on. I don't have much about this whole entire show. I love Thomas and Friends. It's one of my favorite. It's one of the best and amazing shows I've ever watched. Bro, I don't know how much. This is really unpleasant. Hopefully this one is not much bad. But please, I want to get this through and quick. I don't have all day to do so. And I don't know how much I'm going to do. We'll get into it as soon as I find something quite... I don't know. I've heard enough of Lan. I just want to get this done. But only if I can find a good sequence opportunity. And I don't know how I'm going to do so. Let's just move on. Please. I hate this time of my life to do so. Okay, we'll get to the others. Buzzy Bees. This is very forgettable. This is so forgettably bad. This episode actually goes there. Bro, this is worse than Henry's good deeds. I told you these two other episodes were not improving. They don't make me smile. They just make me really, really desperate. And I can't say this episode couldn't beat the others. Like, come on, just give me good luck. I can't say much about these episodes. Other than responsibility being the other respect. I don't know how much time I'm going to improve about saying this. Other than that, we need to get a lot of jam rocking and rolling going on there. Otherwise, oh, no. I don't know what I said, but I'll discuss that later. Let's just get to the final one. Oh, finally! Hiro Helps Out is really good. If I say it myself, this goes right there. Oh my goodness. Finally. A discussion. Sir Topham Hatt's most hated episode. We finally got a big engine. The new one from Hero of the Rails the main character, Hiro. Finally, we get Hiro as the main character. None other than Thomas. He's usually the star of almost every single episode. Thank goodness. The other ones we didn't have the main problems were Toby's new whistle, Percy's Parcel, Snow Tracks, Tickled Pink, Henry's Good Deeds, and a Blooming Mess as a problem. This was only a huge problem. But finally, golly, that's too tough. And much worse. Not really, but that's not good for me to explain it. I don't understand the whole shaming reason I do so. Other than that, this episode is really fantastic. But it's in 6th place. Sorry, guys. If I scroll upwards, I can find out why I put Double Trouble there on the top of 1st place. Because of Sir Loam Hat being the main reason, followed by Thomas. He's probably the main reason why Sir Loam Hat did all this stuff. Even though Percy voiced Loam and Topham at the same time for some reason. Very familiar too. That's why Edward was confused about him. You know, it's not usually Sir Topham Hat. That's probably the reason Thomas also did so. Let's just hopefully get this all done and get this on the road. But please get me some good luck. And that's finally done with season 13. Oh my gosh, what a relief. I finally got the discussion over. Let's rank them all one by one, from worst to best. We got the Lion of Sodor, A Blooming Mess, Buzzy Bees, Henry's Good Deeds, The Early Bird, Thomas and the Pigs, Splish, Splash, Splosh, Slippy Sodor, Tickled Pink, The Biggest Present of All, Thomas and the Runaway Kite, Steamy Sodor, Time for a Story, Creaky Cranky, Hiro Helps Out, Snow Tracks, Percy's Parcel, Playtime, Toby's New Whistle, even though that's 1st place right there, but actually the number 1 spot goes to Double Trouble. Alright, finally. Hopefully season 14 will come out on October, because I don't want to try and deal with a lot of these. Other than that, October 1st will be when it comes out. Other than that, this is me, Owen. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and we'll see you real soon. We'll see you next time.